The defensive backs work out today here at the Combine, so with that in mind, I want to give you two cornerbacks who I think would be great fits for the Ravens in this year's draft. Now, I know a lot of people want the Ravens to take a cornerback this year early in the draft, and I think that these two players could fit the bill. Sidney Jones out of Washington and Gareon Conley out of Ohio State. Let's first start with Sidney Jones. Right now, NFL Network's Mike Mayock says that he's the best cornerback in this year's class. He compares him to another former Washington Husky, and that's Marcus Peters. Now, if you remember, Peters was somebody that really interested the Ravens as a cornerback 2 years ago when he was coming out in the draft. The Ravens liked him, but the Kansas City Chiefs drafted him before Baltimore had a chance, and all he's done since coming into the NFL is make 2 straight Pro Bowls and rack up 14 interceptions. So if Sidney Jones is anywhere close to the kind of player that Marcus Peters is, and a lot of people think that he will be, the Ravens would be thrilled to get him at number 16. Now, the thing with this year's cornerback draft is that there's good players at the top, but there's also a lot of depth. And I think that if the Ravens waited until round 2, and then they got Gareon Conley out of Ohio State, he'd be a great player, probably even a plug-and-play starter. He's 6'1", 195 pounds, and in most classes, he would be a sure first-round pick, but there's just so many good players at corner at the top of this year's class. He was overshadowed a little bit. He played alongside Marshon Lattimore at Ohio State. Now, Marshon Lattimore is probably going to be the first or maybe second corner taken off the board. So people kind of forget that Gareon Conley is a great player in his own right. He's a 2-year starter at Ohio State, not afraid to come up and play press coverage, and I think he would be great to pair alongside Jimmy Smith in this defense. So those are two cornerbacks who I think would be good fits for the Ravens, and the Ravens are probably going to look to draft a corner in the first 3 rounds for the first time since taking Jimmy Smith in the first round in 2011, but I have a feeling that trend is going to change this year. So that does it for us here today at the Combine, but we'll continue to give you more players throughout this week who I think would be good fits for the Ravens in this year's draft.